joining us after the open house and part of the room. We're going to be going over the market and today's plays. Let's get started. Good afternoon. This is Ifan from the Strategic Day Trader, and this is your market wrap for June 28th, 2021. Qs up 1.2%, SPY up about 0.2. Okay. Was showing a little bit of weakness relative to the Qs this today, and then IWM was as well, and IWM still down 0.8. Okay. IWM continuing to base in the range on the daily here, still looks higher though. Qs, obviously, new highs, bullish. SPY, new highs, bullish. Coming into today, bullish on the market overall. Okay, so going into tomorrow, still bullish on the Qs, SPY, and IWM. We do have room to pull back, but doesn't have to be tomorrow. Okay, this is what we talked about this morning at the open prior to this run up. You know, this is sustainable. SPY, Qs, grind on the hourly is sustainable. Okay, so we're still a couple setups away from any kind of bearish bias. All right. Let's get into today's plays. You know, this was on the favorites. EXEL was my mistake not to play it here. We did go over it. What I didn't like about it, there's the low of the day base breakdown. You could have played the high-low at the open, but I'm taking it easy on the high-lows. The daily here was into some support there to the left, so just a little bit of pivot. Actually pretty old support, a little bit older than I think I thought. I zoomed out to the weekly and noticed that, you know, that was in the way. But there you go, pretty big sell-off there on the EXEL. We only had two things on the favorites. The other one was the ALNY. But as I said, the ALNY, I'm not sure what this is going to do. Although it is a bearish gap, it's only gapping down because of the gap up in the NTLA. So that was one of the things we wanted to address this morning, is that a lot of biotech's gapping up. This is the one that's primarily going to be in focus. And then ALNY, I'm not sure what this is going to do. It is a bearish gap, but it's not really gapping on its own news. You can see, so this ended up getting bought. So there were only two things on the bearish list. ALNY got bought right away. And as soon as this got bought, I said, you know what, this doesn't look like a short anymore. We took it off the list, right? We even talked about here. Said you know, you can look at this as a double top. It just got bought too much at the open. It's not something I would short. Okay, so that came off the list pretty quickly in the morning on the ALNY. Okay, so EXEL, that really worked. Yeah, fantastic on the EXEL. The gray was one that found a little bit later, was not on our initial gaps list, and just this one missed it a couple times, so that was tough. Pull back right to the rising 20. We get a little retest there with that red bar. Here's the daily. So the daily is really what I'm focused on here. Okay, and so daily continuing the transition higher. Lots of volume in today, so that we want to see. So notice on all these things too. I'll probably throughout the whole day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 total ideas. 2 of them were on gray. 2 of them were on MNKD, and so they're not and then 1 on Perry and then 1 on EXEL. You know, I'm not just looking, you know, going all over the place. You know, here's an idea on ABC and this and that and that. That's it. I mean, I'm focused on the ones that there's something exceptional going on today. So we've already talked about the EXEL. Look at this bar. You can see the volume. You're going to know it right from the beginning. Obviously, the gap really stands out. Gray, the gap is okay, but it's definitely the volume that comes in later tells you, okay, this thing's going to move a bit. Okay. Perry also. Perry, nice gap. Obviously got the volume. This was a 2-minute base here. Because the pullback here was so deep in the morning, I wanted to, so I didn't play this or this. I wanted to see, you know, a confirmed uptrend. So this was the PERI breakout. New highs, target 1, got to a little over 2 Rs, but then did get shaken out right down here. Let's see where this closed. So it doesn't really close that much better, but I was a little bit agitated that I might have kind of came all the way right to my stop, got me out, and then kind of got the pop. But there's nothing really I can do. The stop is where I put the stop. That's what I sized it for. Was about 30 cents, so that's fine. It was okay on the Perry. Okay, but nice gap. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4 on the daily. That's triggering with today's gap. But if you were looking to play this like as a swing, unfortunately, it'd be gapping over your entry. But that was the Perry. And then the MNKD. MNKD, I did do a pretty poor job managing this. We played this breakout here. You can see I was kind of outlining the resistance here when we were discussing the management for this. So we played the breakout here over 21. Raised the stop immediately up to 18. So that cut the stop in half. But I got trailed out right here. See, after this bottoming tail. So what I was pointing out to the room is this is not a good trail at all. I did this. It was not like the smart thing to do. It was a deviation from management for me to do this. So it was not, it was that appeal of, okay, we get to lock it in. It's like a free play, just trail it to basically break even. And we got that bottoming tail. But I don't have anywhere in my management plan that says just trail if you get a nice big bottoming tail. So that was where we trailed. We got shaken out right there, right into the rising 20. Another reason why that's a bad trail. And then off it went to the target. Target came from the daily. The first target was supposed to be 535, and that's where this gap gets filled right here. Bottom of that bar is 536. We ended up going to 539. Yeah, so that was just not a good trail there on the MNKD, but it was a good idea, right direction. This was getting a lot of attention today as well. You can see this bar well above average here for the MNKD, clearly moving. There's that 15-minute chart on its way, grind higher. All right, so those were the plays today. I thought today was fine. I didn't think that it was especially tricky. It was easy to focus. And then so hopefully some of you that are now kind of joining us for the future kind of see where the focus comes in, right? Because especially like last week, I'm seeing like all sorts of symbols, things that are moving, things that are not moving, things flat on the day and no pattern and no gap and no volume. And, it's, I think, really important that if you're going to play something as a day trade, you need it to get to target today without taking out your stop. You really need something that's moving. You need something that, is being traded actively. Something important is going on. So you can see all of the names that we focus on here. There's a lot of kind of potential here, right? Even on the EXEL, you only get half the move. You probably still have a pretty nice trade, right? If you played it in the morning. So, yeah, so hopefully you see that. I think it's really important right now until we get to the next earnings season. Next earnings season, you can just kind of do your scanning based on the earnings list. But it's during kind of times like right now, and especially like today, because I don't know how many biotech names I went through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 of them. Including the NTLA. There are plenty more than that. These are the ones that I wanted to highlight, either to make you aware that they're biotech, so they're probably going to do whatever the NTLA does, and then any of them that were doing a gapping on their own news. They had their own catalyst. So it didn't end up playing any of those. ABUS, AVRO, AVXL, Beam, CANF, CAPB, so on and so forth. Didn't end up playing any of those. And so, this morning's gaps list was definitely a lot to go through, but I thought we did a good job knowing what to focus on and what was moving, right? And I think that's kind of really important right now. Otherwise, you're going to see a lot of, couldn't get quite to the target and then pulled back in. Why? Because if you're playing it on a day where it's not really in focus, and we can just use this as an example, the AMD, which is bullish. It's bullish on every time frame. But today's not really the day to be playing it, right? So, of course, it's going to probably be more range-bound, okay? So, probably, yeah, AMD, if you're looking at something like this, be looking at it more as a swing, okay? All right. Hope you did well today. We'll be back at it tomorrow, and I will talk to you then. Have a good evening.